I was really stubborn and I wasn't good at cycling. And so I wanted to, a part of me wanted to like prove my dad wrong. A part of me wanted to like beat this kid that I thought I was going to beat on, and he was just better than me. I'm really competitive. And I think that all of that is the reason that I've been able to survive in the sport for as long as I have. I think that there's a lot of kids that don't go world tour, and then like that's it for them. Like they don't want to do it anymore, or sometimes they don't have the avenues to do it anymore. And we can talk about American cycling and what that looks like and how we're trying to like give it some hope. But I know a lot of kids quit after they don't go to the world tour. And for me, I was just like, nah, there has to be another way. Like, I'll find it.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Finding Good podcast. Here we dive deep into conversations with remarkable people who have found success in life despite all of life's myriad challenges and found good on the other side. Based on 3 tenets defined in my best-selling memoir, Finding Good, these individuals have been positively selfish, surrounded themselves with good people, and more than anything, done their part to make this world a better place. My name is Mike Thompson, and this is Finding Good. Welcome back, my friends. My name is Mike Thompson, and this is the Finding Good podcast. We have taken the show on the road. My producer, JB, and I are here in Los Angeles, City of Angels, recording a few podcasts with a couple different groups, couple different people, and I couldn't come out to LA and not see my guy, one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Justin Williams. Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Super excited to be here.
Thanks for being here.
No, this is awesome.
This is your hometown.
Even though it's raining, this is awesome.
This is mid-March. We know about the tragic fires that have plagued Southern California over the last few months, but it's been raining all week, and you said it's been off and on, off and on. What's it like around here now that the fires are out, and what's the mood around the city like, particularly in the cycling community? Because I know you said you've had plenty of people affected by the fires. Yeah, no, it was pretty incredible to watch the city just come together.
Mm-hmm. And watching LA, I think in LA, everyone has something going on. And so to have a moment where everyone kind of stopped in their tracks and comes together and tries to help each other has been pretty incredible. So just watching the communities and the people, it started off in Palisades, and Palisades is a pretty wealthy area. And so, I think that with the state of the country right now, people are kind of like, the Palisades can fend for themselves, and then it kind of spread out through the city in Altadena. I was actually in Altadena when the fire. I was staying at the Airbnb doing a teen camp with Scratch Labs, and I was literally remember I had a day at the office because I had to work, and it was a rest day, and I was driving back to my Airbnb, and I've never seen a fire that close. Like, I've never actually seen a fire that close. And then the lights are cutting out. The street lights weren't working. It was literally chaos. So I get to the Airbnb. I pack my stuff. There's this little old lady next door to me. I'm like, do I need to take her out of here?
Help her.
And we're on the street. There's it's like a bunny museum, under the apartment that I'm at. And so I'm getting all my stuff from my car. I'm about to ask her if she needs a ride anywhere. And then I see she's with her son or something. And I was like, okay, cool. I can get the hell out of here. That bunny museum ended up burning down. So I'm pretty sure the apartment that I was in also burned down. And it was pretty incredible to see everybody kind of just get together to help people in the Palisades, people in Malibu, people in Altadena, wherever the fire was, especially in the cycling community. It was so many people donating clothing and essentials and money. And for us, we did a raffle for one of the Kobe bikes that I did last year for Kobe Day, which is incredible. And we ended up selling that for $6,000. So Factor was incredible. Our partners, incredible on us getting to them and saying, we have this idea, we want to give back in this way. We have kit, but bike shops now they have more kit than they know what to do with. So I was like, we just need to do cash.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, cool. What can we do? Factor, can we give away a bike? Yeah, we can give away a bike, no problem. Super
incredible.
excited to do it. Let's
And
do it.
all those proceeds go. I know you do something with the LA Fire.
Yeah, it was
There's a
basically
foundation.
yeah. This we basically chose Altadena to send that money to. So like right now the bike's getting done. SRAM also came on and said, yeah, you can kit it out with like a full group.
Awesome.
We'll take care of
donate
you.
it.
Exactly.
So great.
And so Factor and SRAM basically came on and said, we'll do it. We put up T-shirts to sell, and so altogether we'll probably end up donating about $8,000 to Altadena specifically, because it's a historically Black community. And like I think Jackie Robinson's from there. That's such a crazy history. And throughout these tragedies, the stuff that you learn existed there before you even had any idea what was going on. It's pretty incredible. I didn't know Jackie Robinson was from Altadena.
But when people start talking about it in the public discourse, those things come out, and it's like 100%. Any place is important. Any place that people live and reside, any community is, in my opinion, worth saving. So I don't like those the haters and the trolls that are like, they can fend for themselves. Like, oh, their house just burned down. Would you want people to say that you can fend for yourself?
I mean, and then like the CEO of Red Bull was up there. There's people from Zwift that were up there, people that I've worked with that I reached out to. There was the owner of Pedal Mafia was up there. And so he actually has a famous video of him like grabbing his like really rare Porsche, like out of like he was like he like left everything and he just like went down, and I guess one of his like friends was like, where's the Porsche?
Go get the car.
Where's the Porsche? And he's like, oh, I just left. I didn't know it, like I just left.
Go get the Porsche.
And there's like this super infamous video of him like them running up and they have like masks on. It's like they're robbing the house.
It just like went viral.
It went viral. They get in the car and his neighbor is out. His neighbor is out front. The fire, I guess, is right in 100, 200 meters away from them.
Probably feel the heat from it.
You could probably feel the heat from them. They grab the car and then they shoot down, but he lost everything and then ended up going back. He's back in Australia now. And so like, I mean, that's like such a loss to the community. He's like such a good dude and has such like great energy. And we talk about being intentional about stuff. Like he's incredibly intentional. I've learned so much stuff from him. His name is Jay. Just in being around him and observing kind of the way he moves, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's not for me, but I get why you're doing that.
Yeah,
you know
tweaks
what I mean?
their own.
And so now he's back in Australia with his family, and I couldn't imagine how much of a incredible change that would have been for his boys. So stuff like that, like business is still good. I think they still have a shop in Santa Monica or Venice. I think it's in Venice. Okay. So if anyone's free to go check it out, I'm sure he'd love the support. But that's the kind of thing
Go see Jay.
That's the kind of thing that like it's really cool to see everyone come together and be like, you need clothes? Okay, cool. We got you for clothes. Oh, you need like support here? Okay, we got you. And I don't know, you really see what people are made out of when you're dealing with a hard situation and like who's reaching out and who's actually willing to help. And so I'm glad that we could be a part of it in a small way. And hopefully now we're worried about landslides with all these
it's the rain. Yeah, it's just like one thing after another for y'all. Well, it doesn't surprise me at all that you would use your influence, your power as an elite, as a professional athlete, but elite cyclist and even better human being to give back. But I want to, for those at home that are unfamiliar with Justin's story, I want to take them back all the way to the beginning. And we're going to walk through the finding good tenets at some point. But you are known as the LA kid. You're from South Central. Growing up, tell me what life was like growing up in South Central. Are you from Compton?
No, I'm from just South Central LA. Like, it's literally Exposition. There's like where USC is off of Exposition. Yep. I'm literally like 500 meters away from the school. I actually used to go run on their track, just like
when you were a kid.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, the school was open. You could just walk through the gate, and the track was always open, so you could just go run on the track.
Perfect
so I just
place.
go run on the track on the weekdays.
So you're growing up, South Central LA. Before cycling, what was life like for you?
Football, basketball, family. We grew up in an 8 unit apartment building, and 7 of the 8 units were my family.
That's incredible.
So it was so
like the Williams
sick,
compound.
Dude. It was literally like, it was so fun. And my family is huge. I probably have like 50 cousins.
That's
So like my
incredible.
family is huge.
And these are from your mom's side, dad's side, both?
This is both. And so my mom's side is the one we spent a lot of time with growing up. But her brother lived basically like in apartment, I think it was 8. And we lived in 8 before, but then we moved to 3. Yeah,
you still remember the apartment numbers?
3 was a 3-bedroom, and then I had another. My mom's cousin lived upstairs, and that was a 3-bedroom. And so yeah, it was just like football, basketball, sports every day. Where I lived was connected to an alley. So imagine like 6 kids playing 6-on-6, 3-hand, 3-second hole football in like a space of it couldn't have been more than 20 feet wide. And so you got to get really good technically to catch a pass when it's small, like you're windows. Crossing people. It's small windows. So played a lot of sports growing up. And yeah, it was that kind of was my shelter from the outside world. We had like these 2 gates on both sides of the yard. So it's probably 20 feet across and probably like maybe 100 feet long, because it was fully like an alley that was cut in half. And so that was kind of the insulation that we had from a lot of the bad things that were going on. My grandma lived on the other side of the fence, which we didn't go over a ton. And then my mom's some more of my aunt's cousins lived in a building across from my grandma. And then I had other cousins that lived across the street on 39th Place. We grew up on 39th Street.
And that's where the 39 from Legion came from.
That's where the 39 right? from Legion comes from. And so it was just madness, dude. It was madness beyond all of the statistics you hear about, beyond all of the roughness that comes with growing up in like a area that's really gang influenced. Really gang influenced. Like the alley was named Norm Bega, and there's maybe 8 bullet holes in the street sign. And when you talk about
being insulated from all that, excuse me, when you talk about being insulated from all of that, you told me that there's a statistic. It's like 1 in 3 kids before a certain age are either die
or go to jail.
Or incarcerated.
When I was growing up, that was the statistic. It was you have a 1 in 3 chance of either dying or going to jail. And I know of people that have lost their lives to gang violence. I have cousins that have been shot, I've been shot at. I've been robbed. I've been in like all of these situations where you kind of internalize and normalize them because it's the only real way to lead a normal or somewhat normal life. And yeah, I always questioned why it was like that. I always wanted to know why it had to be like that, or why Black people were in this situation where like that was their reality.
Yep. Your parents are both from Belize.
Both of my parents are Belizean. They came here in their 20s. My dad he was a runner at first, and then he started cycling because in Belize, cycling is a big sport and all the girls like cyclists.
I didn't realize that.
It's a massive sport. So we have track and field. Marion Jones was Belizean.
Yep.
And then we have soccer, and I think we're just okay at soccer. And then we have cycling. But the country loves cycling. Kind of like Eritrea or these countries in Africa that you don't think have this connection to cycling, but they show up in mass, and it is basically their national sport. That's what cycling is for Belize. There's this race called cross country. It's 144 miles, and it is the like coming of a man. Like it's where you like where you earn your stripes. And when a Belizean wins it, the country goes crazy.
National party.
It's a national party. I've never seen anything like it, actually.
How did your parents get to LA?
They both immigrated over. My mom was following her mom. And then my dad just kind of like, I think just wanted opportunity. I think Belize is still pretty rough. It's a beautiful, beautiful country and in a lot of ways untouched, but just not like economically the best place to, I think, raise a family, or if you want to do something beyond what's available. There's not a ton of opportunity there. You're going to go work in a factory, or you're going to go into politics, or you're going to go, you know what I mean? And so I think that just looking for opportunity is why they both came over. And my parents didn't even start dating until they both were in the U.S.
But they knew each other.
My dad knows
that's
my
incredible.
dad knows everybody. My dad might as well be the mayor of Belize. That man knows everybody. So yeah, they knew each other. They had been in contact with each other. I think my dad had a crush on my mom for a lot of his life. And so my dad grew up in a really rough situation also. And that's always like humbled me and kept me grounded. Is like, as hard as it was in South Central LA, it wasn't like hard in Belize. It wasn't, walking barefoot or not having food or not having shelter, or it was none of that. It was just trying to avoid issues when you could, and just having the understanding that, whenever you think you're bad, there's always someone badder.
Yeah.
And so
it's like the grass is always green metaphor. Like some people don't even have grass or have
people
ever seen it.
Some people don't even.
Yeah. Well, let's gain some perspective there when we're talking about personal narratives.
Yeah.
But your dad's obviously got the legacy of being a Belizean cyclist.
Yeah.
When did you start cycling?
He was pretty good too. He never won this race cross country. He's done it probably like 25 times, probably more than 25 times. But he never won this race. And like I remember my uncles used to always give him shit about it, because my uncle on my mom's side of the family actually has an incredible resume of this race. Like they've won it on multiple occasions, and I didn't even know that growing up. I had no idea, man. So I had this lineage of cycling in my blood, and I never was taught about it ever. I learned about it.
What was it? Was just because it wasn't available to you, or your first
think my
thought?
mom wasn't into it, and it was her side of the family. You know what I mean?
It's just crazy to think about that, considering cycling is your world now. We know you. I know you through cycling. So.
You can't avoid your destiny, and like life has a funny way of putting you exactly where you're supposed to be, exactly when you're supposed to be there. And so my dad had introduced me to this. I had ridden bikes my whole life. I remember vividly getting picked up from elementary school, and in the 5th grade, I had to get Corey from preschool. So like I would get out, and then I would go to this gate and wait for Corey. There's like this brick wall, sit on this brick wall, and I would wait for Corey to get out of preschool. And I remember my parents pulled up one day, and they had this navy blue Mazda Miata. No, not a Miata. It was navy blue Mazda. I can't remember what it was called, but it was blue, like navy blue, and had like a red pinstripe on the side. And my dad had a navy blue Pacifica. It's a bike you buy from like Toys R Us. It's like this brand called Pacifica. Yeah. It's super cheap, 5-speed mountain bike. And I was like, that's my bike. I was like, that is my bike. Randomly, like a random gift. And I remember riding the wheels off of that thing. I rode that. It was the first bike that I had that had like gears.
Yeah. And
I was ripping up and down that alley, just like back and forth. I mean, like I was probably doing like 20 miles of like just straight sprinting up and down. And like, what are you, 10 years old?
Good. I mean, you have that like literally a childhood. You're 35, so this happened 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. Just it's incredible to think about, when that started for you and what you've built and created out of it.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, like for Corey, me and CJ were, so I'm the oldest, and then there's CJ Kalman Jr. So yeah, he's named after my dad. I don't know why the second one is named after my dad. That's crazy. And then there's Corey, and Corey's the baby. And I remember when Corey was like, he was like a year and like 8 months, and my parents got him a little bike with training wheels, and he refused to ride the bike.
And you can't get off the bike.
I couldn't get off the bike, so he's watching me rip, and he was like, what are those? And my dad's like, those are training wheels. And he's like, take them off. This is
for Corey.
Corey is like such an incredible, like his mental strength and like who he is so incredible. So imagine like a 1.5-year-old telling you to take the training wheels off.
I want it to be like my brother. It's like, why is this different?
Why is it different? Why is mine different?
Yeah.
And so my dad said, okay, you're gonna fall. Like this is what you want.
2 years old, like
he's almost 2. He's not even 2 yet. And he's like, take him off. And I was like, first of all, how did you even learn that sentence?
How do you can talk? Like,
second of all. And so my dad took him off, and he fell like twice, and then he was off to the races. And so Corey never really rode training.
So in a way, it's kind of what your dad did to you on that long ride.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for those that don't
Take
know,
the
there's
trainer
a
wheels off.
story of Justin growing up, and his dad took him on like a 50 or 70
It
mile
was
ride
like
or
a
something
70
like
mile
that.
ride. I don't know what he was thinking. The worst part about the whole thing, this traumatized me for a long time, actually. The worst part about the whole thing is that I only had 2 bottles, and then he didn't tell me to eat anything.
He knew what he was
He
doing.
knew what it was doing.
Yeah.
He knew
So
what it
so
was
for
doing.
for the listeners at home, tell us that story one more time. Your dad's inviting you
And so,
on a long ride.
so I start
and-
riding, right? So
Yeah.
I finally start riding my dad's bike, and it was a no-no in my family to touch my dad's equipment. So I finally start riding my dad's bike. It's raining as it is today, funny enough.
Fitting.
And so he has his bike on the trainer, and these are the old combi trainers where you like put the back on,
I
you
know
like
it.
screw the
Yep.
the
There's a skewer.
some of
that
you
goes
people
right
don't
under the
even
edge of
know
the
what I'm
skewer.
talking
I
about.
know, young kids.
You youngins don't
young
even know what
people
I'm talking
They
about.
don't know what we dealt with. We had to walk so you could
Oh
run.
my gosh, staring at a wall, and then it had the little like, you know how you could adjust the
Yep.
tension.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
There's
god,
no Zwift.
so
There's
bad.
no Wahoo kickers.
It was
This was
so
all
bad.
sitting there and grinding it out. So he's on the trainer.
So he's riding the trainer. When he gets done with the trainer, I'm like, man, I'm gonna ride the trainer. Like it's like off season. I'm not playing basketball. I'm not like going to basketball practice or anything. I'm gonna jump on the trainer. I'm not going to track or anything. I started riding this trainer because it's raining outside. I have so much energy, which is something we should talk about because like that was something I was really stoked about that Specialized does. Is like the foundation that they have for ADHD outride. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
So I was just really anxious, and I was like, I'm gonna jump on the trainer. I'm not able to go outside and run around. And I remember jumping on the trainer and be like, I'm about to get in so much trouble. So I'm on a trainer. He looks at me. He walks in from outside because he was working outside on like a car or something. He walks in, he looks at me, and he doesn't say anything. He just walks by. And so I was like, that was scary.
That's worse than him. That's worse than him saying something.
I was like, that was scary. And so that was day one. I think I rode for like 20 minutes. The next day I get back on the train. He doesn't say anything to me. The next day I jump on the trainer. I ride for like
This is such a
20
dad
minutes.
move to not say
He
anything.
doesn't say anything, but he leaves his bike on the trainer though.
Because he knows.
So it's sunny. Now it's sunny outside and he leaves his bike on the trainer. So I jump on for like another like 20 minutes. So I do that for probably 5 or 6 days.
How old are you at this point?
At this point, I'm 12.
Okay.
And then, and then he goes, okay, do 30 minutes. And then he lowers the seat because he doesn't even know how much time I've been doing. So he's like, do 30 minutes. And he lowers the seat and I do 30 minutes. The next day he's like, do an hour. And I'm like, bro, what? Like, do a what? And so then he's like slowly giving me things to make the bike fit me a bit more. And he made me ride the trainer inside for an hour for 2 months. And then he's like, let's go for a ride.
God. This is awesome. Like, just hearing this, like, he must have had a plan in place.
I think so. He goes, let's go for a ride. And I'm like, yeah, finally. Like, I'm outside. I got shoes that kind of fit, but they kind of hurt my feet because they're like a size too small. You know what I mean?
Are these cycling shoes? Like
these are
clipless
cycling shoes.
pedals?
He finally got me clip. So throughout this process, he got me like he got me a set of bibs. He got me a jersey. He got me cycling shoes. He gave me socks. Like, it was like all slowly. Like one day I got socks. One day I got these. He's like, try these shoes on. Didn't tell me how to put the shoes together. Didn't tell me how to put the cleats on. Figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
That's what he did to Corey with the training
I
wheels.
basically looked at his shoe and then I just basically tried to set them where his shoe was. And then so at the end of 2 months, I basically had everything I needed to ride outside. He's like, let's go for a ride. And I'm like thinking, like, finally I get to go for a ride.
Yep.
This is so cool.
We're going to spin around for an hour.
Spin around for an hour. Exactly. An hour. An hour goes by. First of all, I've never been to this part of the city. So I don't even know where I am. I'm riding to Bologna Creek bike path through Culver City to Santa Monica, to Playa, to Santa Monica. So now I'm in Santa Monica and I'm blown away because I've never seen Santa Monica.
And you're just going further and further away from South Central.
Going further and
so
further
you know
away
you have
from
to
home.
ride back.
The realization. So here's the thing. Even after an hour, still in it. After 2 hours, still in it. I'm so excited because I'm seeing new things. And now I'm on the coast. So I'm at the beach. And now like we went to the beach like a few times, but like people from LA we're not in the water. We don't go to the beach like that. Unless you're from a beach city. If you're from like South Central or you're from like inner city LA, you go to the beach to look at the beach. Ooh, that's pretty. And then you go along your way. You're not getting in. None of that. And so like
surfing,
definitely not surfing. And so I'm riding on the coast now and I'm stoked. And I'm like, oh man, we're at like 2 hours, the longest I've ever been on the bike. That's a turnaround. So
You
like
gotta go
we're at the
all the
turnaround.
way
I'm thinking
back.
that we're like stopped. We stopped to get we stopped to get like water and to regroup and stuff. And I'm like, wait, we have to go back? I thought like I was getting picked up. Dude, the
What was that
amount of
feeling of knowing
terror, the terror
you
that
know you're going
set
to do that
into my
exact same
heart.
thing all over again? Oh my goodness.
We have to go back. I'm not gonna make it. I literally just got into my head. I was like, I'm not gonna make it. And I don't know if many of you have been on rides where you've bonked before, but like
Plenty of times.
you think about your whole life and what it means and why you chose to make the
what am I doing
decisions
in my
that
life
you
here?
made. How did I end up here?
Yep.
And so like now I'm like dragging, dude. I don't even want to be here anymore. I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. I'm gonna stick to football and basketball. I'm really good. I was really good at football and basketball. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick to that. Like I'm already really good at that. And like we're getting back toward Santa Monica. So we ride out to basically Neptune's Net. It's Neptune's Net or Zuma Beach. So we ride it to Zuma Beach. Now we're back into Malibu. And
God, you went so far.
And now I'm being a brat because I'm like, you should know better than this.
What are you doing
What's
to your
wrong
son,
with you?
your firstborn,
This is child
Dad?
abuse. You're supposed to love me. And so then I'm like dropping off I'm not even trying to keep up at this point. I'm like dying. So then I cramp, and then I'm cramping. I'm like, I can't pedal. I've never cramped
your legs
before.
can't move.
I've never cramped before. So now I got this knot in the back of my hamstring, and I'm like, dude, what do you want me to do? So then my dad's so calm during this whole thing, dude. Like I'm throwing a fit basically. My dad's so calm in all of this. So he goes, pull over. So we pull over. He like rolls my legs up. He's like trying to massage the cramp out of my leg. And I have boxers under my shorts because I was uncomfortable. He was like, didn't I tell you you're not supposed to wear boxers under this. These are your underwear. And I was like, that's weird.
All of this is just, it's cruel. Like the fact that he took you on that ride and he let you ride as long as you did. Yeah. I don't know if he knew you had boxers on, but
he did not.
You had them on.
Yeah,
so
I
you
did.
rode,
I did snuck them
like,
on.
Raw dogging it
100%.
all the way up north
deal.
past Malibu. You're making your way back. And this is the part that I really like because he's continue on.
And then he's just like, he yells at me for a second. He goes, stay here. And then he just rolls off. And I'm like,
that's the part that I love.
I'm like, all right, cool. Like, when he says roll off, like, I'm like, okay, he's like going to go get somebody to come help me, or he's going to let me rest and he's going to come back and get me.
And this was what, 2001, 2002?
This like 2001.
Uber didn't exist. Or wasn't, flagged down a taxi.
I'm just out there.
No cell phones.
I don't have a cell phone.
Yeah. He probably did, but you didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he just rides away. And so like after like 5 minutes, I'm like, I don't think he's coming back. Like, I don't think he's coming back.
He didn't even tell you what his plan was.
He didn't tell me what the plan was. He's just like, stay here. And like, it's my dad. So I'm like, okay, I have to stay here. Like, I can't like leave. I'm not crazy enough to like leave where he told me to stay.
Yeah, because he comes back and you're gone. And all of a sudden there's a missing child case. And
you never saw Justin
12-year-old
again.
Justin Williams from South Central LA has been missing for 3 days.
Exactly. So I just stayed where he was. And after like 15 minutes, one of my aunts pulled up and like get in the car. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Can we go get food? I'm about
starving.
to die. And she was like, yeah. And she took me to get McDonald's. I never forget that.
Was she just laughing the whole
has a
time?
special place in my heart. She took me to get McDonald's.
It saved you. Every kid that goes to McDonald's when they're that age is supposed to be looking forward to it because you get a Happy Meal. You were like on the verge of starvation.
I think I got like a 20-piece chicken nugget.
And that salt and that had to be so good.
Incredible. And then I get home and he goes, cycling is a very expensive sport. He's like, if you're not serious about doing it, don't waste my time. Like, don't do it. And like, that was my introduction to cycling. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know. I really like he let me sit for a couple of days, and I sat for a couple of days and I was like, yeah, no, I think I want to do this. And then the next ride he took me out to was a training ride in Long Beach. It doesn't happen anymore, but I want to bring it back. It's incredible. I like everything that I learned. You know how there's the 10,000 hour rule?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I probably have done Long Beach for 30,000 hours. Everything I know about cornering, everything I know about riding breakaways, everything I know about field sprinting, I've gotten a chance to like ride with some incredible people at this ride, and it was like anywhere from like 60 to like 120 people would show up to this training ride at 7 p.m. in Long Beach on Thursday, and like I'd be riding with Rasan Bahadi, Tony Cruz. There was this group of brothers, the Mesa brothers. I think Miguel Mesa won like a stage, or he was like second in stage of like the Giro. Like those are the people that were doing this
Powerhouse
ride.
cyclists.
It was crazy. And like I remember Tony. So I get out there, my next ride, and there's this kid Alex Garcia, and Alex is probably 4'10". 60 pounds, 70 pounds, the smallest kid ever. Like he's a couple years younger than me, so if I was 12 at the time, he would have been like 10. And had a state champion jersey on. He had the Oakleys that like sit over your head. And I was like, who is this kid? I was like, I'm gonna kick this shit.
I'm gonna beat him.
I'm gonna beat this kid. And in football, size, like your size is an advantage. Basketball size is an advantage. And cycling is not.
Yep.
And so my next ride after my dad had this conversation with me was this group ride, and I couldn't stay on for like a lap. And this little kid, Alex, was like sitting in the ride, and I was like, ping. In my head, I was like, I'm beating that guy.
Yep.
And it took me like almost exactly a year, and I beat him. And he had his like, I remember he was mad at me. Like he had his like state champion jersey on. He had his Oakley glasses on. And we were at LA circuit race. And my dad was like, all you have to do is stay behind him and then beat him in the sprint. You're faster than him.
Yep.
So my dad would take me out to LA circuit race on the circuit. It's on Westchester Parkway on Tuesdays, and he would just attack from behind and I couldn't get on. But he would attack in front of me and I could get on. And he was like, okay, you have to stay behind, and I'm showing you, and I'm going to teach you how to stay behind.
Need that lead out.
And like this kid was like, he didn't think I could beat him. And so like he let it out from like super far, and I smacked him on the line, and he didn't talk to me for like 2 months.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, who's this guy?
Who is this guy?
You think if your dad hadn't done what he did and leaving you on the side of the road that you would have taken it so seriously? I mean, did his plan work?
Yeah, I think so. I think he made me like he had gotten a bike. He had gotten a road bike for me like 2 years when I was like 10 years old, and he let me ride it around. And I never forget this. My mom will never take accountability for this, but like I was riding this bike around the same way I was riding my mountain bike around. But this was like a road bike. It was a Bianchi. I still remember it. It was like the Celeste to the orange fade.
Yeah. Yep.
With like Shimano 105 on it.
Yep.
And I was riding it around, and my mom was like, you need to let your brother ride the bike. And I let CJ ride the bike, and my dad saw me let CJ ride the bike, and he says, you're not serious. He took the bike back, dude.
It's just what he did to you, you know? And like, there's a reason why he didn't let you on his equipment. He wanted you to understand the seriousness of the sport. And I think that's just such an admirable thing about him is that
don't make him like that anymore.
but look what it led you to. You know, now you're I would argue the most successful cyclist that I know personally as a friend. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, I think I think being hungry, being a bit stubborn, understanding like having the competition and positive. I think 3 things kept me in the sport. I think my dad's attitude towards how serious he wanted me to take it. Being around really good influences my age, Alex Garcia, Nico Sinfraca, there was this kid named Frankie Munoz. They were all my age, and they were incredibly positive influences. I would say those 2, and then I would say like I was really stubborn, and I wasn't good at cycling. And so I wanted to, a part of me wanted to like prove my dad wrong. A part of me wanted to like beat this kid that I thought I was going to beat on, and he was just better than me. I'm really competitive. And I think that all of that is the reason that I've been able to survive in the sport for as long as I have. I think that there's a lot of kids that don't go world tour, and then like that's it for them. Like they don't want to do it anymore, or sometimes they don't have the avenues to do it anymore. And we can talk about American cycling and what that looks like and how we're trying to like give it some hope. But I know a lot of kids quit after they don't go to the world tour. And for me, I was just like, nah, there has to be another way. Like I'll find it.
I've read something about you that says, you know, cycling doesn't have to be just the Tour de France. It can be anything.
No, it shouldn't be. And I think that like the Tour of California was a successful race. Like we all loved and enjoyed that. I think when it was sold to the ASO, that kind of changed the way that that kind of changed things. And that was kind of sad because a lot of the American teams couldn't get into it anymore. A lot of sponsorships were based off of them getting into that race and the coverage that came with it. But that race was hard to put on. It was really expensive. Criterium racing doesn't take up the same footprint that a Tour of California stage does.
A lot fewer logistics.
It's a lot fewer logistics. It's a lot less moving around. It's Criteriums are a lot more Americanized. It's a lot more palatable as far as like watch time and attention spans. It's a lot more exciting. There's more crashes, sadly, but the crashes are less violent. I personally think everyone's like super afraid of Criterium racing, and I'm like, look, you see the corners every lap. They're the same corners.
Yep, the same line.
If you're not being aggressive and you're staying out the way, you'll be fine. It's like one of those things. I want to start putting stuff out on like crit advice, where I'm like, if your coach is telling you to ride in the top 10, that's a bad coach. Because the only reason you need to be in the top 10 is if you have an objective. If you're trying to get a preem, or there's a moment where you think a breakaway is going to go, or something is happening where you need to be fighting for the front of the race, is the only reason you need to be at the front of the race. Outside of that, what you need to be doing is figuring out how to conserve energy, figuring out who the good riders are, figuring out where you're fast on the course, figuring out if you ran the right tire pressure. There's a lot, if you can help your teammate, there's a lot of other things that you can be focused on, rather than trying to ride in the top 10 to be safe, when the reality is if everyone is doing that, then you guys are all making it dangerous.
Food for thought for all of you amateur Cat 5, Cat 4 guys that want to get into the sport.
I'm your guy. Yeah, if you need some advice.
We were talking briefly about the positive influence, and I think that's a perfect time to transition into the first tenet of finding good, which is be positively selfish. Because what I know about you is that you have an incredible team around you. You have a knack for surrounding yourself with good people, which is that second tenet. You've certainly done well over your fair share of leaving the world better than you found it, which is that third tenet. But none of that happens if Justin isn't Justin 100%.
Yeah.
So, you're growing up in South Central. You identify this sport that you like, that is as a legacy, essentially, as part of your family history. And you're getting into it, but you've got basketball, you've got football, all these other sports. You're focusing on cycling. From that point until now, what is your mission? What is your drive every day that makes sure that Justin is 100% so that Justin can give 100%? How do you do that?
That's a great question. I think that I didn't learn how to do that until recently. That's been a journey my whole life. I think starting in this sport and being in a space where there are not a lot of people that look like you, I think you're constantly trying to make yourself fit. And I think a lot of my career was spent trying to make people feel comfortable, trying to conform to like the cycling culture, environment, the people, the way they act, the way they do all this other stuff. And I think that once I went over to Europe and I realized I actually loved the racing in Europe. And I think I could have been really good at it. Like, I love doing classic stuff. I got to do the tour of Missouri. I got to do a tour of Oman, tour of Qatar. I loved all of it. I got to do under 23 Roubaix. It's like pretty good at that kind of racing. But I just realized like what the money that they were making at that point versus like what I was going to have to give up to be maybe a okay, world level cyclist. It just wasn't worth it for me.
The juice wasn't worth the squeeze unless you were going to be that top,
and I didn't know if I was going to be a Grand Tour, like a top world tour sprinter. There was no way to tell. I felt like I had the talent to do it, but what it was going to take to get there was going to be, at that point, I think I was 19 when I first went over. We're talking the average age of like going world tour was 25 or something at the time. Now it's like 20.
Super young, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to dedicate 5 years of suffering in this place, and I don't know any better. And like my parents never been to Europe, so they didn't know any better. I went over to Europe with like $500 in my pocket, and the euro was super strong at that point, so that was no money at all because it like got cut in half basically as soon as I got there. And it was just like the suffering was just like too much. And I grew up, my parents are Caribbean, so it's all about family. It's all about dinners together. It's all about like spending time. And I had been away from my parents for like 2 months. And so I think the whole, from the time that I started to like where I am now, there's been so many things that I've learned along the way, so many things that I've had to try and persevere through, that led me to a point where I figured out, if I don't take care of myself, and if I'm not 100% authentically myself, then nothing really works. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. It's like they don't ever find that, or they don't ever believe in themselves enough to like just do the things that they want to do. It's like teaching people. It's about the journey, right? It's not about the winning. It's about the epiphanies that you have along the way,
personal journey,
and getting to this thing that you think you want. And that the life is crazy. You say you want something, you put it into the universe, you start working towards it, and sometimes you never reach the thing that you set out to reach. And the coolest part about life is that along the journey, the things that you learn and the things that you become, and the things that you experience, make you the person that's going to do the thing. Like, you're going to do something else that's really cool. Even if it's not, sometimes you reach the goal that you're looking for. Sometimes you reach the goal that you're looking for, you get there, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. And then you got to adjust anyway. And so I think for me, wrapping my head around, all right, here are the things that are important to me. Here are my 3 buckets. Here's what I have to invest into each of those buckets so that they balance themselves out. And then I'm not only fulfilled, and I'm not only happy, and I'm not only growing, but like I feel accomplished.
What are those 3 buckets?
Right now, my 3 buckets are winning and racing. I still really enjoy being competitive, getting back to winning after injuries, suspensions, injuries, rehab. Getting back to being able to win a bike race has been like such an incredible journey for me, and understanding how to like love myself, and understanding how to be satisfied with the good things that I do put into the world, and letting that be enough. And it just feels really good that I still can do it. Like it built
worked.
all
you
of this
just won
stuff
last week.
Exactly. And I had to think to myself, I built all of this stuff so that I can race, because I wasn't getting the opportunities that I thought I deserved before I started the team. I think either people don't know that, or they forgot that. The reason that I had to start my own team is because I kept going to teams that were making me feel like I was lucky to be there, even though I was the guy that was winning the races. And like, that's a crazy mental thing to go through when you're like, wait, I think I'm doing everything right. I'm winning these races. I'm like, they're sending me to talk to sponsors. I'm going to like dinners and like all this other stuff. And they're like parading me around. And then when it comes contract time, it's like, oh, we don't really have space, or we just have enough room for you, but we don't have that much budget. Here's what we got. And then you find out someone's making like 5 times the money you're making, and they can't get out of their own way. It was like pretty mind blowing. And so I was like, winning is important to me, because I spent all my time building this thing, and like, I need to be able to enjoy it. I need to be able to like, to really live within that, and give myself a real chance at doing whatever it is that I want to do. So winning is one. The team is one. And so the building this program, the Legion of Los Angeles, where we can give opportunities to like riders from the Caribbean, maybe riders from, at some point, riders from Africa, riders from South America, and American riders who really deserve it. The pipeline there's some extremely talented riders that either quit cycling or don't get the support that they deserve, because there aren't enough teams out there that are building programs that can support riders of that caliber, right? So if you're someone like Robin Carpenter, and you've won stages of the Tour of Britain, but you don't want to race in Europe anymore, and like, it's not really like he's fully capable of doing it, but if you're not choosing that path, and you don't want to do that, why isn't there a place that you can come home to and not only pass down everything that you've learned to like the next generation, but like he's a superstar. So team, winning. And then my third thing is I'm starting a clothing company called 39. And I've always, like, if I wasn't a cyclist, I would be working in fashion. Like, if I wasn't a professional racer, if I didn't have all of these things on my plate, like, I would be working in fashion, or I'd be working for a company, and I would be doing everything from the marketing of it to, like, I want to touch the fabrics. I want to figure out what the manufacturing processes
You want to
are.
source all the
I want to
materials.
source everything. I want to touch everything. I want to build it all. Like, and I was lucky enough to get put, when I was on rock racing, there was this guy named Bobby Indo, really good friend of mine. And he would let me, I would draw him photos and then give to him to make like these kits. And he was like, dude, what are you, what?
That's awesome though.
Yeah. And he entertained it. And so then Bobby went on to start Endo Customs, which is a clothing manufacturer out of LA. And we started like concept team together and like all this other stuff. But he basically let me learn I was an intern basically. He let me learn everything that I need to learn about that whole process. He really sparked and like taught me so much about the manufacturing of it, and why you, like, when you're buying fabrics, you're buying it in rolls. Like, you want to do all these different fabrics on the jersey, but you got to understand that that's costing us money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you've always been interested in bringing the fashion and like that culture into cycling.
100%.
And now you're in a position of influence in cycling. You can give back and start getting back into the fashion 100%. And clothing side.
And I was lucky enough to work with companies like Rafa, and I've gotten to work with ASOS, and like those were really great experiences. But they lacked a little bit of the creativeness that I wanted. They lacked a little bit of, like, it was always about timelines. And like when you're working with a big company, man, when they're building anything new, it's like 3 years to get it done. And I was like, I don't have time for that. Like, I want to do it now. And that was probably a bad habit that I built in working with Endo, was that if I wanted to make something with Bobby, I could make it in like a week or 2.
Yeah, much
like
shorter.
We developed a skin suit in probably like 2 months, and it was like from zero, like from me drawing sketches to us having a sample, it's probably like maybe 2 months. And so I'm used to that. I know it can get done fast. It's just that you guys are doing all this other stuff, and hindsight's 2020. I've learned a little bit, like, I'm definitely not that important for Rafa to stop what they're doing to build something specifically that I want. But I don't know, that really pushed me to doing something on my own that was going to be really special. And then also we were dealing with, like, people kept getting mad at me because we would put out jerseys and they would sell out. And I was like, dude, I don't control the quantity numbers. I don't control like what. I understand everybody wants a kit, but I don't. Rafa picks the numbers on like how much they produce. And that was cool, but I think that we got to a point where we started being like the Travis Scott of like Rafa, and I didn't love that, because like a part of our whole ethos and our brand is being accessible and giving access to and inclusive, and I was like, that's really cool, but there should be a version of the kit. Like, if we're gonna do special drops, then great, but if we're gonna stand for this purpose, then the stuff that we need to create something that people can have access to all the time. Like, if you want to feel a part of the mission, if you want to feel a part of the team, there should be a jersey that you can get year round. And we just like really couldn't get there. And like, that's what I hope to accomplish with like what we're doing now. Like, we'll do pre-orders, and I have like this home jersey that we're doing. So like each of our teams has a home jersey in, pulling from like football and basketball.
And this is 39. So 39 will be cycling.
Yeah. So
cycling centric apparel.
Yeah. So it's 39. It's a little bit of everything. It's streetwear. It's cycling wear. It's gonna be way more affordable. I think a Rafa kit's like $500 to $550,
which is
the same thing exclusive. With like MAP. I think it's the same thing with like MAP and Pass. But we've built kits that are of the same quality, and I think we're going to aim for that like 300 to 350 range, which is like a pair of Jordans. So it's like figuring out how to make something really nice that people can like making something that's really nice that people can have access to and get excited about, and still make it really cool with either the designs or the collaborations that we have access to. There's a lot of cool stuff going to come out this year. We're just spending like really getting the name out there, really just being smart with how we spend our money and like who we give access to the brand and building the brand and getting it out there. And then I think next year we'll hit everybody with a couple like pretty incredible collaborations.
All right. We have been going at it for almost an hour now here on this episode of the Finding Good podcast with Justin Williams. We have so much more to cover. I've got a ton of notes in my notebook here to address with Justin. So we're going to break this up for the first time into 2 parts for this episode of Finding Good. Stay tuned for more, including a partnership that changed Justin's life. We'll see you in part 2.